Hey y'all, how are you? It's Burgess Taylor, or Journey with Burgess, and we're going to be talking about the artist's way. And then towards the very end of the video, I'm going to be talking about the writer's diet, which she says is write yourself right size. It's a revolutionary diet plan. Use art to take off pounds. I'm all about that. I've had this book for a while, but I have never done anything more than read the introduction for whatever reasons. I think the very first time I was going to read it, some family stuff happened and I forgot all about it. As of late, I've been feeling a bit of burnout. And one of the things I wanted to do, because I thought maybe it would help, I started writing morning pages again. I didn't do 3 pages for letter size. I didn't do that. There were times when I wrote 1 page of letter size. There were times when I wrote like 3 pages A5. There were times when I wrote 1 page A5. I've been kind of back and forth while I was doing this, making morning pages a habit again. And this time a real habit. Like, I fought tooth and nail on and off every single time I have done the Artist Way program, which I've began the Artist Way program 5 times. I have completed the Artist Way program 3 out of those 5 times. I have felt resentment, been rebellious towards the morning pages, but this time I wanted to actually do them. And so I've been kind of getting in the habit of doing morning pages, even though I haven't been doing all 750 words or so. That's okay. One of the things that I've noticed, though, the more I do them, the better I feel, the less anxiety I have, the calmer I am, the more focused I am, the more creative I feel. I'm ready to like jump into being creative when I finish the morning pages. And I usually am drinking my coffee. I light a candle when I'm writing the morning pages. One of the very end things that I do when I'm writing morning pages is I will pull an oracle card. I will draw said oracle card and watercolor it and write the definition, the information from the booklet, and then talk about what that makes me feel, what I feel like intuitively I need to bring forth from that. Like the card that I pulled this morning was the inner vision, which I pulled quite a few times, and I've actually gotten from Kat Riles as my card for like that month. I'm a patron of Kat Riles, who is the author and illustrator of these oracle cards, which are called I think they're called Roots and Wings Oracle Deck. I will leave her website below. I pull oracle cards. Sometimes I do choose different oracle cards depending on my mood. Like I have actually done the moon deck. I've actually pulled cards from there, and sometimes we'll draw them. These are a little bit more complicated to draw, especially in the morning, you know, when I haven't quite finished my first cup of coffee. But that's okay. I'm going to be using the morning pages for the Artist Way and the writing diet. Morning pages are part of both. Walking is part of both, and artist dates are part of both. Those are her 3 basic tools. I found where she actually talks about how at the end of writing the Artist Way, she said, when I wrote the Artist Way, I got all the way to week 12 and said, P.S. walk. I have been teaching now for 20 years since the publication of the book. That was in 1992, so I'm not sure when this quote came, but they just had like the 30th anniversary last year for the book because, like I said, it came out in 92. I've been teaching now for 20 years since the publication of the book, and I now realize that there are 3 basic tools, not 2, and they are morning pages, artist dates, and walks. I find that if you walk, you start to integrate what has occurred to you from the other tools. You might walk out with a problem, but as you walk, you come into a solution. You just get a different perspective. You go out for a walk, you come into a solution. You just get a different perspective. For a walk, maybe you see a cat in a window box, and suddenly you hear yourself saying, oh, I could try X. Walking is very powerful. Here I am, again, about to start the Artist Way, and I'm really excited. I think that it's really important sometimes that you work on things that are outside of your comfort zone. And to be honest, morning pages, the way that Julia Cameron does them, is just a little bit out of my comfort zone. There's so much going on with me and my life. Like, my husband works nights. When I get up in the morning, sometimes he's already asleep from when he came in the morning. Sometimes when he comes in the morning, I'm getting up So writing morning pages in our bedroom, in bed, is not going to work because I can't have the light on when my poor husband is trying to get to sleep or is asleep. That light is going to bother him. He's on night shift. I normally have my notebook and my pen. During the week, I will leave it in the studio. When I know I'm not going to be in the studio, I'll bring it in with me, and sometimes I'll sit in the living room in the recliner with my cup of coffee and write them. He's still awake and I can write them in the morning in the bedroom with the light on. I will. I do have one of those little tiny book lights, but y'all, the older you get, the more light you need to read or write. I am getting better at them. Like I said, I'm feeling more in tune with them. I'm actually enjoying them. When I get up, I go brush my teeth, I wash my face, I get dressed, and I come out here. I put my makeup on out here. I'm making my coffee out here. I come out and I haven't even had coffee when I get in here. So that is a really good way to start my morning pages. It's become a habit. It's become a routine now. I do need to increase the amount of pages that I'm writing because I've switched from composition book to A5 book. One of the things that I've debated on is morning pages are something that you can technically throw away. My morning pages have really been helping the last few weeks sort through my thoughts and figure out things. I think as I progress through this, eventually I maybe will throw them away. But for now, I'm okay with keeping them. I think I've thrown most of my old ones away. I have set up journals and notebooks for this program. It is a 12-week self program. Like you do it yourself. Now there are some paid courses. Cameron has a paid course with videos. There are some groups that you can join and do with other people. Some you pay for, some you don't. I do have a Facebook group that I have had for years when I did this a long time ago. I have opened it back up. I'm going to leave the link for my blog post down here along with the link for the book. I have the 25th anniversary edition book in Audible. And I have my old 2002 version edition of The Artist's Way. Just quite a few books that are in The Artist's Way. I don't know what to call that program. It is sort of a spiritual manual for creative recovery. Now, Elizabeth Gilbert said she is the author of Eat, Pray, Love. And she said there would be no Eat, Pray, Love book without The Artist's Way. And I found that very interesting. One of the outcomes for a lot of people, it frees up your inner artist. And for many people, creativity is a tool for survival. It says in one of the introductions that creativity is a tool for her survival. And I found that creativity is definitely a tool for my survival. It's sort of a part self-help book, part workbook, part creativity as a spiritual practice kind of thing. But I will say, because there are a lot of God references, a lot of sort of a spiritual, religious, and the spiritual means quite a few different things. One of the things that she says, as far as the basic principles go, she talks about them in the very first few pages. But like I said, you're going to see the word God throughout a lot of this. May or may not resonate with you. She actually encourages readers to think of your creativity as a spiritual practice and to get curious about that spiritual electricity that we manifest when we are creating, and that you should feel free to replace the word God with whatever resonates the most for you. So source, universe, spirit, creative force, the great creator, the benevolent universe, the God, whatever works for you. But she says, and I put this part of this in the blog post, she says that creativity is the natural order of life. Life is energy. It's pure creative energy. That there is this underlying, indwelling creative force infusing all of life, including ourselves. And when we open ourselves to our creativity, we open ourselves to the Creator's creativity within us and our lives. Creator's creativity that could be our higher source or our higher self or the creative force. As we open that creative channel, many gentle though powerful changes are to be expected. And it's safe to open ourselves up to greater and greater creativity. And as somebody who has been on and off experiencing imposter syndrome and self-doubt and burnout on and off and creative block sometimes, I find that the more in tune I am with my higher self, with my more intuitive self, with my inner vision, the more creative I am. The better I feel, the more inspired I am, and the better able I am to inspire others. So I'm, like I said, there are those 3 basic tools: the morning pages, the artist dates, and walking. When I first read The Artist's Way was January, I think it was January of 2016. I'm not positive if I didn't pick it up before then and start it but not finish it. I may very well have. I don't remember exactly. I do know, like I said, I've had a sort of love-hate relationship with those morning pages. For some of us, that morning pages should be something that we experiment with. One of the things about The Artist's Way that I'd like to talk about before we really get into the nitty-gritty, because right now I haven't actually started. I have been perusing the introduction. I have been listening to the whatever, it's the difference. In the 25th edition, there's an introduction that has to do with the 25th edition, the 25th anniversary edition, which I do not have in my physical book because this is the 10th anniversary edition. And then there is a regular introduction. And then in this one, she talks about spiritual electricity and the basic principles. And then she talks about the basic tools. And then you get to week 1. I am starting this and listening to the 25-year one, Clean Out Here or whatever. Now, things have been kind of chaotic the last few weeks. My aunt passed away, my mom's youngest sister. My aunt was only right at almost 11 years older than me. I just had my birthday and turned 56 in July. She would be 67 in October, but she didn't make it quite to her 67th birthday, which is just so terribly sad. We had a celebration, they had a celebration of life for her, my cousins and her husband. It was a beautiful, beautiful service. They had lots and lots of pictures up. She was my favorite. She was the cool aunt. Me and my cousin, Paula, who was living in Indiana and now lives in Florida, she was the cool aunt. She was our favorite. My mom has not been doing very well. My mom had a pulled muscle. She could barely walk to the bathroom for like about 2 weeks now. She's finally starting to be able to move a little bit more. There have been other things. Heart rate and blood pressure and stuff like that have been not very good, and I have a doctor's appointment next week. I have also been spending quite a bit more time with the grandkids, trying to have them like every other weekend, at least for one night. Last Friday, I picked them up from school and they spent the night. We ran a few errands. We stopped and got some snacks and stuff, and then we came home and we had a good time. I ended up making homemade blueberry pancakes and the kids helped me and they loved them. Anyway, there's been a lot going on, and I thought I would have the introduction read by now, but I have not. One of the things I'm not quite sure of is when you start The Artist's Way, the introduction is sort of part of the first week, I suppose. Or is it its own separate week? I'm not sure. I'm going to add it into the first week because that's why I'm reading it, starting it a little bit ahead of time, because I know there are things that are happening this weekend and next week that are going to be time consuming. Like I said, I'm starting it Saturday. So the kids are spending the night Friday night. It is Mabon Saturday. It's the autumn equinox. I will be taking them home Saturday morning. I am trying to get back into the swing of things for YouTube. I have like at least 3 videos that I need to edit to put up on YouTube. I decided to put those to the side for now and concentrate on this, even though I have a review for the owl paper planner, which the night owl planner. She calls it the night owl bullet journal or whatever. I also have the Aura Estelle undated B6, which is what I'm going to be using for next year. Like I said, this is the 10-year anniversary of The Artist's Way. This is my paperback version. I actually do have the workbook somewhere. I never really used the workbook though. And then this is the hardback version of the Writing Diet Write Yourself Right Size. So this is my notebook for the Writing Diet. I have some notes about the prologue there, and I have included, like I have just, this is one of those paper mood notebooks that I've had for a long time, and I just put it in my Apple Pig cover, which is red, because I've kind of color coded things so I know that this is all the stuff that is about these creative projects that I'm working on. So that's what this is for. And this is my morning pages. Now I have a notebook with a ghost on it that I had bought for October for morning pages specifically. I've even numbered the pages. So I think I'm going to put a halt to writing morning pages in here during the month of October and write them in here, and I will see which one I like. Do I like having a notebook for each month for morning pages, or do I just want to continue and write morning pages in its own notebook? And this is a cover from Taroko Design. I used the Enigma from Taroko Design for a long time, and I have been thinking about getting back to the Enigma. This is a micro dot from Nanami Paper. I'm repurposing some of my notebooks. I took some of the pages out that were just a few pages that I had started something. This is a pen holder from the Superior Labor. This came from the stationery selection box from Mitts. Okay, so now we're going to get to this. And this is one of the Exceed notebooks, I believe. And I have some gold stars in there because I am going to be starring things whenever I do artist dates. So what I have done is I did this because I have the Audible version as well. So these were some notes that I have taken about, I've come up with some ideas for artist dates. I wrote down the quote from Elizabeth Gilbert. And then this is one of the author notebooks. I believe this is 68 GSM. It is lined. I'm feeling so fall, y'all. And this is the notebook that they're writing in, and this is the book that they're reading. So what I wanted to do with this is my notes for books, for the book, for the Artist Way. And that's what I have right here. Like, creativity is a spiritual practice. This is my 6th time beginning the Artist Way, which is a 12-week program. I will be writing in my book. I have already been highlighting and writing in this book. I am an annotator when it comes to nonfiction. And see, for this book, the tools, we've got the morning pages, the journal, walking, the 4 questions, the culinary artist date, the halt, the body buddy. She's got 7 tools listed in here. I have been reading this prologue. Like, I've got eating for comfort as a note to myself about something that was said. I've got a note to myself over here. I just started reading the thing about the tools, and I was like, okay, well, we've got morning pages. The journal, okay, she says you will write your morning pages daily, but you will write far more often than in the mornings. Throughout your day, you will write every single time you eat and every single time you feel like eating. This tool is not about judgment. So that's one of the reasons why I have the little B6 notebook that is not morning pages. It is for notes about the book, notes to myself. I haven't figured out yet. I'm going to do notes to myself in here, which would be that journaling tool that she's talking about. I thought about putting this with the morning pages. This is how I process things, y'all. So the journal she talks about, it's about accuracy. It's not about judgment. So many of us do not know exactly what we eat on a given day. We become discouraged because we gain weight despite our best efforts to the contrary. So keeping a food journal takes the guesswork and wishful thinking out of our lives. Instead, we have facts. We know what we ate, and as we became more skilled at using our journal, we know why we ate it. It is simple and straightforward. You will write down every morsel you eat. You will write down what you were feeling when you were tempted to eat. Very often you will find that you were eating instead of taking a creative action. The creative action does not have to be big. It may be something simple like cleaning up your room. It may be something harder like making a difficult phone call. Whenever and whatever you are tempted to eat, we record. I want to eat something, we write. And then we keep on writing. Revelations tumble to the page. I want to eat something soon translates into something far more specific. For example, I just thought of John, and that made me want to stuff my feelings of loss. I still miss John. Or, this new job is exciting but so public that I find it a little threatening. As we admit the shadows that fall across our inner terrain, those shadows lose their power to scare and to sabotage us. We can live with missing John, we can live with the stress of the new job, and we can do it without a pint of ice cream. Because I want to use this, I think that will be my food journal. That or not, but I'm also thinking about taking the Halloween Chronicles, the Poe, I think is what she's, Poe-tastic or something. So I might end up using this for that. I don't know. I'll figure that out. I hadn't realized I was gonna need a journal for that. I hadn't gotten to that part yet. This will be notes for the Artist Way here, and the exercises and the task. Writing diet, B6, which I think that works really well. It's kind of synchronicitous, as a matter of fact, because it feels like I kind of knew I might be doing this ahead of time, which is why I drew and watercolored the cover of the Writing Diet book. I think I'll use that B6 as my journal for the book. I think I'll do that. Because it is B6, which would be much easier for me to carry back and forth out here in the studio if I go out. I do, however, have an A6, which may be a better size for food journal. I don't know if I want to just put too many journals together. I'm not sure, but I will figure that out, and in the next video, I will show you what I decided. I will talk to y'all later. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to do the YouTube things, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, comment and share if you can. If you know somebody who might be interested in doing the Artist Way with us, because several people have already joined the Facebook group and signed up and are doing it. Like, if you can't start on the 23rd of September and you want to start on the 1st of October, I did this a few years ago, and quite a few of us were like a week ahead, a week behind each other, and it was fine because we were inspiring each other and kind of helping each other stay accountable. Thanks, y'all. Bye. Have a great one.